We're going to talk more about this now with our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons, who joins me from Jerusalem. Rob, tell us about these negotiations now that seem to be focusing on Rafah.
Well, for the last 24 hours or so, and this, I think, following the visit to Washington by Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, there has been talk that the visit to Washington by two senior Israeli advisors to Benjamin Netanyahu to talk about Rafah will now take place at some stage in the future, not clear exactly when. Remember, this should have happened at the beginning of the week, but was put off by the Israelis in a fit of anger, I would say, at the US decision to abstain on the UN resolution calling for a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. That infuriated Benjamin Netanyahu. He decided not to send the two advisors to Washington. Now it seems that there's been a bit of a change in position. According to the White House, the Israelis have agreed to renegotiate about the return, about the visit. For its part, though, the Benjamin Netanyahu government's a bit more vague. All it's saying at this stage is that it hasn't given the go-ahead yet for the two to go to Washington. But I think one can say that, given the fact that the White House is saying it's going to happen, that it does look like it really will happen.
Rob, in the meantime, what has the situation been like in the West Bank? Have there been tensions there?
There have been tensions really since the war started in Gaza, but they have been ticking up, perhaps related to the fact that Ramadan started early last week. Almost every day something happens. Last night, an Israeli bus containing school children was attacked. 3 people were wounded, including a child. The Israelis killed 2 Palestinians in Jenin on the West Bank, and using a drone, and shot dead another man. So, almost every day, 450 Palestinians, according to the Palestinian Authority, have been killed in the West Bank since the start of the conflict in Gaza. According to the Israelis, something like 3,000 or so Palestinians have been arrested in the West Bank. According to the Palestinians themselves, it's twice that figure. But, the figures, the facts state the obvious, that this situation in the West Bank is very, very tense indeed. The Israeli army has lost itself 17 soldiers in the West Bank since the start of the conflict, and there's no sign whatsoever that things are going to let up. The mood in the West Bank is very angry, very hostile. Support for Hamas there has been growing quite fast and is stronger even than in Gaza itself.
Rob, thank you for that. That's our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons.